first South Dakota Senator John Thune joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta.
Just so that we can make this absolutely plain, there are really sort of two economic issues that are the budget issues. One is the continuing resolution to fund the government between now and September 30th, and the other is the 2012 year. Is that correct?
Right. What we have is 2 years on top of each other. The Democratic majority did not pass a budget last year, and so we're dealing with the unfinished business of the last fiscal year, and then the president submitted his budget for the 2012 fiscal year, which will start September or October 1st of this year. So it's two debates on top of each other, and I think sometimes that gets a little bit confusing.
All right. The continuing resolution ends March 4th, and so if nothing's agreed upon, the government shuts down March 4th?
Well,
or 5th?
Or what more is likely to happen is Congress could pass another short-term stopgap continuing resolution until such time as there is an agreement on a longer-term continuing resolution. But if nothing happens, that's correct. I mean,
what happens when the government shuts down? I mean, what does it actually mean for us?
Well, it's been a while since it happened. I think that, for most Americans, it's debatable about what they would think about that. I think right now, most Americans want to see first and foremost is spending reductions. They want the federal government to get spending under control, and I don't think that they're even talking about a shutdown is in the cards. I think what we have is an opportunity here to address the spending issue and to address the debt issue. We've got the continuing resolution coming up, and then we've got the debt limit coming up later this year, and I think any discussion of anything other than the opportunity that we have to do something about that is just conversation.
Right. So right now, in terms of 2012, we have the president's budget. The Republicans have not yet put up a program. Is that correct? And direct to debate the president on.
Right. But it all starts with the president's budget. He submits it to Congress. He's done that. The Senate and House budget committees, presumably, they didn't do this in the last Congress, but this year, at least in the Republican majority in the House, Paul Ryan and his budget committee members are going to write a budget. But there are deadlines for that. That will proceed through the spring and summer months, and hopefully we'll be able to get this year where we actually enact a budget. And I think that there will be a budget that at least passes the House. We'll see whether or not the Democrat majority decides they want to move one in the Senate.
All right. Now, I take it you're not particularly satisfied with the president sent to Capitol Hill today.
The president, despite his rhetoric, his budget spends too much, taxes too much, and borrows too much. We've got $8.7 trillion in new spending, $1.6 trillion in tax increases, and $13 trillion added to the federal debt, which is already $14 trillion. So it almost doubles the debt.
So what would you do?
Well, first off, I think the president, he missed an opportunity here because his budget doesn't do anything to address the long-term issues that really face the country, and that's where most of the spending is. It's in the entitlement program. It's Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. He didn't do anything on that, and we're not going to get any deal on any of those issues absent the president's leadership. Now, he had the perfect political cover because the debt commission that he appointed made a series of recommendations on reforming those entitlement programs, and he has not embraced any of those.
Well, except for the debt commission, the reason why that wasn't embraced in part is because 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats and one other person, Mr. Sturdy, who used to who was also one of President Obama's appointees, didn't like it. I mean, that's why. I mean, and the Republicans have a perfect chance to adapt everything in the debt commission when you come up with your idea.
And my guess is you will see the Republicans adopt some of the recommendations that came out of the debt commission.
Why not adopt all of them? Because that was Erskine Bowles and Senator Simpson, bipartisan and tough decisions. Nobody's happy with everything in the debt commission. Why not just adopt the debt commission and then say to the Democrats, we're going to adopt what the debt commission is. Let's go with that one.
I think that Republicans are rightly focused first on spending. The debt commission, of course, included a bunch of tax increases. And Republicans believe that the way that you deal with the problem right now is on the spending side, because it isn't that Washington doesn't have enough revenue, it's that Washington spends too much. And so our focus is going to be on spending. And you're going to see that this week on the continuing resolution, which the House is working on and which will come to the Senate sometime before the March 4th deadline, we hope. And then also when the House Budget Committee submits its budget for fiscal year 2012. It will be a budget that uses realistic assumptions. The one thing that the president did is they assumed levels of economic growth that are about a percentage point higher than what the Congressional Budget Office assumed. So they're very rosy economic assumptions, and even at that, it still increases spending by $8.7 trillion, raises taxes by $1.6 trillion, and adds $13 trillion to the debt.
$250,000 a year. And some business stuff.
Tax increases on those, tax increases on investment, tax increases on death, tax increases on energy. There are lots of tax increases in the proposal.
Senator, thank you, sir. Nice to see you.
Thanks, Greta.